slightly higher than what they owe black people for reparations. So that's why I don't believe reparations will ever truly be paid. Also, I don't believe the national debt will ever truly be paid. If you look even deeper in terms of what's going on culturally, politically, our political system, the Republicans and Democrats spend more time fighting than they spend actually building and creating things. And so while the elephant and the donkey are up there fighting each other, black people, we're kind of like the ants trying to avoid getting stepped on. And we're kind of hoping that the elephant and the donkey will stop fighting to somehow elevate the black community. And that's just not going to happen, because they can't elevate you when they're spending all their time destroying themselves. They're not going to stop fighting and trying to kill each other so they can say, well, let's take a moment and really do right by black folks. I don't think it's going to happen. So in order for you to be strong, what you do is you can take advantage of the fact that America has become an ignorant and chaotic country. Financial literacy for most Americans is in the toilet. People are really divided. But so if you can become part of a core that is unified and is deeply intelligent about the things that matter, like, for example, if we have a core, just a core of the black community, it ain't got to be everybody, a core, that talented 5-10% that are really committed to financial literacy, really committed to wealth building, do basic steps to put their children in a place where they're going to be ahead of everybody else's kids. Then what will happen is, slowly but surely, while everybody's in the middle of chaos and fighting, you're slowly collecting your wealth. A lot of wealth just gets transferred from dumb, distracted people to focused and educated people. And so you want to be part of the focused and educated, so you can just grab your little money here, your little money there. Next thing you know, you've got a power base, and everybody's looking around like, how did this happen? So the whole black community, in terms of the whole black community coming up, I don't know how soon that will happen or how that will happen. But I do believe that if the black community has a big come up in the, say, next 200 years, it will be because there is a core of the black community that has enough strength that they lift everyone else up. All the people that never, learned how to create a job, they can come to you and get a job, things like that. So that's the vision for the future, and that's what I believe is going to work. So Andre, tell me your initial thoughts as we sort of begin this conversation.
I want to piggyback off of what you just said, and everybody on YouTube. Andre Hatchett here with my main man, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Honored to be here. No movement has ever had more than 20, or no movement or revolt has ever had more than 20% of its people that got involved in it. So if you're thinking about Jim Crow, people who were fighting against, people were scared of Dr. King. Pleasant, lovely Dr. King. He was too radical back in the day, Doc. He was too radical for a lot of us. So you're dead on with that. So we can't look for everybody to get involved in the revolt, which is obviously what's going to have to be, and the uprising. We're going to have to look for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people who are going to get out here, and then we're going to make the change, and everybody else will follow us along the way. But act with what you have and who you have, and the rest of the people will hopefully tag along later, or there's the majority of them after we lay down the groundwork.
Absolutely. It's about mobilization. So with that said, I want everybody to know that Andre is going to be at the All Black National Convention, which is taking place in Louisville, Kentucky, September 28th through October 1st. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have several panels, several screenings of Black movies. We're going to have networking sessions where you can meet other Black people who want to lead, who want to build, all this sorts of stuff. And Jay Morrison, another real estate expert, will be there as well. And it's going to be just extraordinary. So Neely says, I can't wait for this wonderful convention. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person, Neely. Of course, I'll be there. I'll be running around talking to everybody. So if you want to get your tickets, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. If for some reason you can't make it, your dog is sick, you broke your pinky toe, that's fine. We have another digital option as well. If you go to abncdigital.com, then you can sign up for the study group for the convention. We have all the footage from last year's convention, which was amazing, with Killer Mike and David Banner and all the scholars, Judge Olu Stevens, and all the brilliant people, Zaza Ali. Even Yvette Carnell was there. She ain't coming to this one, but it's okay. She's always invited. But we have all the footage from last year, and then all the footage from this year will also be housed there, as well as lots of learning tools. The event that I did with Louis Farrakhan, there was 3 hours of us doing nothing but teaching for 3 hours. That's in there. There's a lot of really good stuff. So the first month of that study group is totally free. So
Wow.
if you go sign up at abncdigital.com, you can watch the live stream of this convention and see last year's convention and get the recordings and all of that stuff. So feel free to check it out. So Andre, let's get started with you, brother. So you run the blackrealestateschool.com, and
Yes.
real estate is something that you're interested in. Tell me why you are interested in real estate in the first place. Why is real estate important to you?
Real estate is important to me. One, personal pride and fulfillment. It feels really good as a man to say that I own where I live, and or for me, I own where somebody else lives as well. So landlord or own the land. So there's no in between with that, right? Like you're one or the other. So personally, it feels good. If you crunch the numbers, so on a real basic 101 level, right, Doc? So if you buy a house when you're 25, you just have that one house, right? It's a 3-unit house. You have 2 tenants, 2 units of tenants paying you rent, and you live in one of the units. After 30 years, or probably less with the additional rental income, you will never have to pay another mortgage payment ever again in your life. And not just your life, your kids' life, your grandkids' life. That house can stay in your family forever. So on a 101 level, it just makes sense, because if you live in that same house for 30 years as a tenant, you will never own that property. You're a great tenant. You pay everything on time. You're the best, right? They love you. They give you like even treats on Christmas. That's because you're paying. That's because you bought the treats with your rent money. So you can never pay off rent, no matter how great you are. But as a homeowner, you have the ability to pay off a mortgage, which you will never have to pay ever again if you don't refinance or take money out of it. So it just makes sense. On an equity standpoint, equity means something is worth more than you're paying for it. I know people who have literally bought places 4 years ago or 5 years ago in the Brooklyns, the Harlems of the world for $800,000 or $1 million, which at the time was a lot of money, now are worth $2 million, $1.8 million. And all they did was live in the property. All they did was live there and collect rental income on top of it as well. So equity, pride of ownership, and the ability to never have to pay another mortgage payment as long as I live. Yeah, those are really strong points of view. So
Wow.
real estate.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that it's interesting that people, are very quick to rent, almost like it's part of a culture. You have families that have been renting for, generations, and they either don't know about ownership, or they don't think about it, or they don't believe that they can do it. And I think that's really interesting, because what's so fascinating about the renter's mentality is that most renters, if you rent long enough in the place that you live, you will have bought a house for your landlord. So the very same person who says I can't afford a house would actually has bought a house. If you pay back your student loans, that's enough money in a lot of cases to buy a house, or at least a good down payment.
Oh, yeah.
I know, a sister hit me up the other day on email and said she had $500,000 in student loans, and she had just got, kicked out of medical school.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, with $500,000 in student, I think it's $455,000 in student loans.
Whoa.
And she's like, what kind of advice can you give me? And I'm like, I'm like, okay, financial literacy is not magic. You know what I mean? I'm not a magician. I can't make money just appear out of nowhere. But, for somebody like that, I feel bad for it. I guess if I, talked to her more, I probably would have told her. And I did say this, actually. I said, really, entrepreneurship and ownership is your only opportunity to really get out of a hole that deep.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like in a basketball game, when you're down by 40 points, you have to shoot 3-point shots. You can't play it safe and, just play like fundamental basketball. You actually have to go out here and take some chances. Or in football, if you're down by 5, when the Patriots were down to the Falcons in that crazy game in the Super Bowl, they had to go down the field. They had to throw the long bombs and all that, because they were so far out of the game. So when you're out of the game, I think entrepreneurship is one of the few ways that you can really propel yourself back into the game if you take it seriously. I've seen people. I was in Boise this week. A lot of people make fun of me because I don't really see white. Sometimes I forget what white people look like because I don't watch TV. and I just don't work. I work with black people, you know. And in Guyana, I would see one white man per week. You know, usually he worked for the oil companies or the State Department, because Guyana, they just discovered a lot of oil, and so now, of course,
wow.
you know, they go, the vultures are coming in. Suddenly, they have a great interest in Guyana, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was in Boise, Idaho, like the whitest place on earth this past week, and I was playing bubble soccer with with nothing but pretty much white people, and very nice people, by the way. They, you know, I don't think white people bite, and I think that it's a difference. It's a different relationship with a white man if you are doing business with him as opposed to working for him. You know, so
and if you're on your own turf where you're the majority of the people as well, that helps out as well.
that does help. That definitely helps. You know, so I was definitely, you know, out of friendly territory per se, but I was around people that had a certain type of respect, you know, for what we do. They asked me what I did. I said I do the Black Business School, and a lot of them had their own thing going on. A lot of the people there were what they call influencers, people that have like you know, YouTube channels with a million views, you know, a million subscribers, stuff like that. Well, anyway, the thing that was interesting was a lot of these folks that I saw there, you know, were under the age of 30. A lot of them had never gone to college. And a lot of them, when they said, how many of you have made, you know, over $1 million in the last year or year and a half, you know, a bunch of hands went up. You know, I'd say the majority of them were millionaires, and they're all like 25, you know, 27. And it's so interesting that I think we miss out as Black people because we're not sort of, as a culture, I don't know if we're always pushing ourselves to be cutting edge, pushing ourselves to take the biggest risk, pushing ourselves to use the latest technology, pushing ourselves to go build the companies, you know, things like that. What can you speak to that a little bit in terms of how culture and mindset, and it does actually speak to your book, and maybe you can talk about your new book. You know, how does mindset kind of play a part in where you position yourself in the wealth building race?
It's everything. This is actually in the book. Which called the top 10 habits of underachievers, the top 10 habits of underachievers. And that's one of the habits is the thought process, what you think of yourself, what you think you're capable of. And in particular, what is your belief systems? Oftentimes our belief systems are freaking crushed at an early age. A lot of times by our own parents and teachers, we're forced to be average, right? Average is good enough. Don't go for anything above average because you want to be safe. You want to be safe and secure, and we want to have to not worry about you. But those guys and those gals who you met, they're insane. They're on the total, they have no limitations. Their belief system is and meet new friends because I have money coming to me from all different avenues. A common trait to wealthy people who haven't inherited their wealth or rich people and or upper middle class people, like high up middle class, is they're usually able to make money when they don't have to physically be somewhere in the world. You've been on tour, you make money probably every day of the week, right? You don't have to answer that. But you probably make money every day of the week. I do, so I know you do. So sometimes it's $3,000, some days it's $30, but that money comes in every single day of the week. And I don't physically have to be anywhere in particular to do that. So our belief systems, whether they're low or they're high, they're going to dictate our wealth building makeup, and it's going to show us what we can and what we can't do. So if your belief system is on averageness, you're going to get averageness back in your paycheck, in your life, in your sex life, in your dating life, in your food life. You're just going to be cool, which is totally fine. I don't want any part of averageness. I don't want any parts of it, Doc. Zero parts of it. So for me, it's always about hanging around people like you who will just force your mind to expand.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, I think that mindset piece is really, really, really important. I know that a lot of times the people who love you the most are the ones who limit you the most, you know, because they don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you get disappointed. You know, it's like, you know, in a way it's a protective thing sometimes, like a father who doesn't want any boys talking to his daughter because he doesn't want to see her get her feelings hurt, you know. And sometimes the father's intervention is a good thing. You know, sometimes he protects you from something that's bad for you. But if he locks you in a closet and never lets any man ever date you, and no man is ever good enough, then that's sick. That's not cool. That's not helpful, beneficial to you. At some point,
it's gonna happen.
Get out there and explore and go through some of the ups and downs of love, so you can find what you're looking for. You know, and I think that life is the same way. Life and love are deeply connected. It all links to everything, all the life forces that exist in our lives. Whether you're talking about, you know, creating economic life and financial fertility in your own life, it's all kind of the same thing. I don't really, when I think about my life, I have a lot of people that worry about me because they think I work too much. And I giggle about that because I'm sitting there thinking they don't understand. I don't work at all. I just live,
Yeah.
and who I am talking to you right now is who I am all the time. I'm not, I'm not on the job. I mean, I know I'm talking to you and I want to make sure that we communicate in a certain way and that things get done a certain way. But this is no different from me talking to my relatives. Like I really do feel like I'm with family, and so the love is what's driving everything. It's not work at all. I don't even know really what work is really. If you ask me to really work and have a real job, I probably would get fired because I'm
Quickly.
used to operating in love,
Yeah.
and loving what I do, loving the people I'm doing that with, etc. So I think that just rethinking even how we think about what it means to make a living, making a living, are you making a living? Or are you making a life? Are you really getting out here in a way where, how you make your money is connected to who you are as a person and what matters to you. I think that those things don't have to be separate. This idea of the work-life balance, like, oh, I'm gonna dedicate the majority. People don't understand when you have a regular job, actually, you're giving the majority of your life to a corporation. The majority of your years on this planet are given away to a company in exchange for. It'd be different if they were giving you millions of dollars, but they're not. They're giving you, enough money to get by.
Live.
And so that really, I think, leads me to encourage people to really think about, what does financial freedom really mean? A lot of people, when I talk about financial freedom, they think, oh yeah, it means making a lot of money, balling out. I want to be filthy rich and private jets and all that. And I'm thinking, you got to be careful, because I know a lot of people who have all that who are actually financial slaves. They're slaves to money. They can't. They have to. They hoard themselves out. They do terrible things to people. They do stuff that they hate. They stress themselves into the ground because they got to maintain the lifestyle. So financial freedom is not an infinite amount of wealth. Financial freedom is not having an unhealthy dependence upon money in order to sort of be happy, in order to be free as a person. Does money constrain you, et cetera. So I think that you really, if the more you think, I will say this, and Andre, I'd like you to talk on this more about your book. But the more you think about your life, the better your life tends to be. The less you think about it, the more you end up following somebody else's blueprint, the more they're going to guide you down the same shithole that they went down, because we're Black people. We're not a culture of thrivers half the time. We're a culture of survivors. We enjoy saying that I've been in the shithole my whole life. It's a struggle out here. I hate my life, but I made it. I made it through the storm. You know what I mean? Look at what you don't know what I've been through. But I made it. And I'm
And
sitting.
that becomes our personality. That becomes our dominating thought.
Right. Like, is that all you got? Like, I made it. At what point are you going to, go to that next level? So give me your thoughts on that.
Well, my thoughts, I'm going to go back a step about wealth. We interviewed somebody for the Black Real Estate School last week. Her name is Mrs. Kendra Barnes. Mrs. Kendra Barnes, she was also featured in Forbes magazine. Kendra Barnes is 31. Her husband is 37 or 38. They make $200,000 annually in rental income from their portfolio with 7 homes. $200,000 annually in their rental portfolio with 7 homes. If you go to blackrealestateschool.com, you can check it out and our how to build such a real estate portfolio course. It's there. You can view it for free. It's free for you guys till Wednesday. All right.
Okay.
$200,000. That's freedom. That's wealth. And on top of that, she's accumulating equity. And on top of that, her and her husband can live wherever they want in the world. And they have 1 car.
Wow.
A Kia.
You're kidding me. Are you serious?
No, I'm going to send you the video.
That's so funny.
A Kia, dog. A Kia. So we're talking about wealth, expectations, thought process. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? For me, is I want my parents to be able to retire like sooner than later. I want to have enough money to have a stay-at-home wife if I get married. I want my nieces and kids to never even know what a job is, unless it's their own job, which they're working for the family company. So what we have to do is we have to allow ourselves to be free enough mentally to assess our life, to screen our life, to adjust our life, and to have the life that we want. I have a saying. I think 99% of things are possible in the world if you give it 3 to 5 years and 3 to 5 people going all in. So if I have 3 to 5 people going all in for certain goals, and we give it 3 to 5 years of hardcore work, like hardcore, a lot of boring, grueling hours when we're tired as heck, anything is possible in my view. 98% of things in the world are possible in my view if you give it that kind of dedication. It's just, are you going to give it that kind of dedication? And in the book, I actually have 2 books for anyone who wants to pick it up. Hey guys out there, pick it up. It's called Own or Be Owned: The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation in America. Own or Be Owned: The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation in America. And the second one is The Top 10 Habits of Underachievers. Because of people who are underachieving, and it's not by my standards of underachieving. I'm not a cult leader. It's not by societies or docs. It's when people who continuously say that they aren't hitting their goals. This is their words. You aren't hitting your goals. You aren't living the life you want to live. Most people who are saying those things, who are living those subpar lives, they're doing the same things. So I put it all in a book, and I'll grab it before we go, and it's available to be picked up. Someone asked a question, Doc. Can you buy a house with student loans? Yes, you have. There are actually ways. Certain lenders don't count your student loans against you. And if you email me, I'll send you a loan officer's number who I work with, and he or she can tell you about the mortgage program. And that's what we do at the Black Real Estate School. We give you guys experts on all types of real estate investing: tax liens, multifamily homes, buying raw land, all that good stuff.
Well, I like what you said about, by the way, I'm talking to Andre C. Hatchett. Andre, among other things, he's the co-founder of the BlackRealEstateSchool.com. He's also the author of the book, the 10 Habits of Underachievers, right? Is that right?
The top 10. I'm going to grab it real quick. The top 10 habits.
The top 10 habits of underachievers. He's also actually the president of Black Men United. So if you happen to be a Black man and you want to be part of a really important movement, this came out of the last All Black National Convention. We want to elevate the status of the Black man, the image of the Black man across the world, as well as the performance of the Black man, so that our sisters can be proud of us. And so if you are interested in joining Black Men United, you can join for free. Go to blackmenunited.net. It's for men only. Sorry, ladies. We have other stuff. There's other stuff out there for women as well. Shaquita and Noma Langa have some stuff going on. But for the men, you go to blackmenunited.net. And we're not playing. We're very serious. We're not trying to be politically correct. We're not trying to make anybody happy other than the men who are in the group. And then at that point, we build and we understand our roles as leaders, as protectors, as providers, as economic champions, as educational champions, world travelers, just, all the values that my father taught me about manhood, and Andre's father and other dads, throughout the world. We want to make sure everybody has a dad. We almost like a dad sharing program, because, unfortunately things have happened that have sort of thrown us off that path. Now, let me, you said something earlier that really got me going, that I really liked, that I really want to follow up on, man, because you're just an idea machine. You have all these great ideas. I like what you said about the 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
I think the 3 to 5 plan, like as you were talking, I was sitting there thinking, okay, I can see that. Like, trade your 9 to 5 for a 3 to 5, right?
That's deep.
Where literally you said you give 3 to 5 years of dedicated effort with 3 to 5 other people who are equally dedicated to the same goal, and you will achieve something special. And that's really true. Most of the stuff, I mean, in a way, it makes me think about, if you think about some slaves trying to escape from the plantation. If you got 3 to 5 people with you, if you go by yourself, it's going to be a little difficult. If you got 3 to 5 or even more people with you, people that can actually run, and, maybe somebody knows how to shoot, somebody knows how to hunt, you know what I mean? Like, you're more likely to survive than you are if you run by yourself, right? So basically, if you're trying to get off the corporate plantation, I would say find your 3 to 5 and give it your 3 to 5. Because that's the other thing too. A lot of people think that success, once you quit your job, is supposed to happen overnight, and it just doesn't. It takes some time. You have to really be in it, and in a way, it's a lifestyle where you have to make a decision. Like, are you going to live free? Are you going to live, the other way? I'm not going to call it slavery, but it is a kind of slavery. When you don't have freedom, then you're kind of a slave. And ultimately, I remember when I left my job, the success part wasn't a function of me jumping out and automatically being super successful. I mean, when I left my job, there were still a lot of people who didn't care who Dr. Boyce Watkins was. To this day, there are probably still people who don't care. It was a choice. It was like, I remember when I was leaving my job and we had no money in the bank, right? And now a person who's not fully committed might have said, oh, well, maybe, well, this is getting tough. Maybe if I go back and ask for my old job back, they'll hook me up, give me some hours, let me come back. You know what I mean?
A lot of to say you won't do all that talking stuff.
They kind of waffle, right? And so they'll end up back and they'll let their old situation suck them back in. Whereas I remember thinking, no, like I am free. I'm done with them. I ain't no going backward. I got to find something in this direction because I don't know. I'm not even going to look back over there. Like leaving a relationship, ladies, when you leave that man, like you can't marry the new guy and then go back to the old guy every time you have relationship problems. You have a new situation. You solve your problems within that situation. You can't jump back and forth or both of your relationships will fail, So anyway, jumping into that, I want to ask you, first of all, if you have something to say about that, you certainly can. But I also want to ask you, can you kind of tell us, remind us, about your journey to home ownership, when you first became a homeowner, what that was like, where you were in your life, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So when I made the decision, I made a mental decision to become a homeowner. Then I had to follow through with my actions. So it hit me when I was like 19, talking to my father, as you said, strong black man, Jamaican proud black man. He said, Andy, if you live in this apartment forever, you will never pay it off. And if you have this home, even if it's just one home, you will have it forever. And you could live in it forever or rent it out. You have options. So I just took the very simple formula. Like I'm a master at simplifying things, not shortcuts. I hate shortcuts, but simplifying things to a one-on-one formula so I can execute it because I don't want to overthink shit. So I studied that. I did that. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I just got into like, oh, this makes, like, where has this been? I was so excited because academically in school, I was never a top student, but I had pretty good social skills. I'm an effective communicator. And once I found about real estate and business, I was like, yo, this is where my life is at. This is who I am, not that stuff. This is me. So I saved 70% of what I made for about 2 years or so. I wrote down every dollar I made for at least 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. And what I did was I didn't earn enough money to party and get new cars and do stuff with my friends that most 20-year-olds would do. I just couldn't do both because I only made $15 an hour. So I had to stack, I had to save. I had a banging credit score, like 720, 740, and I had 10 bands in the bank, $10,000 for. I remember thinking, I was like, man, if I would have thought too much or about the outside way of living, I would have done it. Like I would have been out there. $10,000 in the bank, 740 credit. I could have leased almost any car I wanted within moderation. But I stayed true. I stayed reading books. I stayed disciplined. I stayed focused on the goal. And I became a homeowner at the age of 22 by not giving up and giving up some years of my life. Again, the whole 3 to 5 rule. I gave up some years and I have a house that I can live in for the rest of my life and a couple other investments going well as well.
Man, I love that conversation. I have a couple thoughts on that. Before I share that real quick, if you are watching on YouTube, please take 1 second, give us a thumbs up, hit the thumbs up button real quick, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and the share button and all that good stuff. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention is taking place the weekend of September 28th through October 1st in Louisville, Kentucky. You can learn more by going to allblacknationalconvention.com. There are lots of resources for you there. It's not just a powwow or hooting and hollering fest. People are there networking, doing business, learning, watching amazing films, seeing extraordinary panels, hearing great speakers. Zaza Ali will be there. Andre C. Hatchett, of course, who will be there, along with Jay Morrison, Mr. Real Estate, Willie D. from the Ghetto Boys, Dr. Kevin Cosby, president of Simmons College. Of course, I'll be there, and there'll be a whole lot of other, Dr. Tyra Selden, and a bunch of really extraordinary people. So let me, and actually, before I forget too, I want to mention London. If you live in London, we'll be in London in mid-October. So you can go to drboycelondon.com to learn about London. All right. So, one of the things I like about what you just said is, when you talked about, that climb to becoming a homeowner, you got, first of all, you got that advice from your father. Your father was the one who said, boy, you can't just be a renter your whole life. You know,
Yeah.
you got to step your game up, and that's what makes me feel bad when when young guys don't have a dad to do that, because I feel like dads are, I at least in my household, my dad was kind of the ass kicker.
Yeah.
My mother was a little more the nurturer. My mother pushed me in a lot of ways. My mother, believe me,
Mhm.
my mother's the one who gave me this crazy energy that I have. My father's the one that made me tough. But my father's thing was, he just didn't accept excuses. If I
Yeah.
said, oh well, it's hard out here for a black man, and he would say, well, it's still gonna be hard. So are you gonna be a bitch? Or are you gonna go up and do something about it? Excuse my French, but he literally gave me that kind of tough love that I needed. And I was told to leave the house. I was told, when you turn 18, you cannot live here. You must go. And then my mother backed him up, though. It was like a unity, like the unified thing where, there wasn't like my father would be hard on me and my mother would come behind his back and disavow everything he just said. No, my mother would say, yeah, you need to be a man. Learn how to be a man. When I called my mother when I was 19, and I called her because I didn't have any money for food, I was at the University of Kentucky. I said, I don't have any money for food. Like, can you send me some money? And she said, no. She said, you ain't got no
Figure
food.
it out.
She said, what you gonna do about that? And I didn't see that with a lot of my friends. And I really think that you can't underestimate that parent kind of pushing you. You got to push the birdie out of the nest. I see a lot of 35-year-old birdies who's still in the nest, still in their mama's basement. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I don't understand it,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But then the other thing I like about what you said is, during your climb, your financial situation got better. You saved your money. You had 10,000 in the bank. You got a great credit score. So you're on your way, right? You're doing better financially. You're in a better position. Mindset, people, pay attention. Mindset. What do you think? Think about a lot of the people and they sitting on 10,000 in the bank and a credit score that will allow you to walk up in any Mercedes dealership right now and get any car off the lot that you want, that will impress every girl who sees you on the block.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that a lot of people are going to do with that situation? Do you think they're going to say, oh, I need to hold out for the big prize and buy me a home so I can be a homeowner and build wealth? Or do you think they're going to go use up their credit score, pile up a bunch of debt to drive a Mercedes, go take that 10,000, maybe go on vacation, wear the nicest, red bottoms and Gucci's, red bottoms, bitch, these are blood shoes. Seriously, I want you to ask yourself that question. Really, and the thing is that people that think that way, that their life becomes a reflection of their thinking and their choices. So
Totally.
People who think that way usually don't have the perfect credit score. They don't have the 10 Gs, but that's the person who will look at an Andre and say, hey man, it's just been hard for me, and I know you got good credit. Can you co-sign for this loan? Or hey man, I can't pay the rent, because I just had bad luck, and it's a struggle out here. So can you loan me a couple thousand to pay the rent? Right? When that person doesn't understand that the reason Andre has the 10,000 and the perfect credit or damn near perfect credit score is because Andre has had a line of thinking that is different from yours. My father, I'm gonna tell you about nothing about my daddy. I admire this man so much. He's not my biological dad. He's just the man that raised me. He was funny about this, and I'm gonna say, I don't want you to talk, Dre, because I'm getting, how I get.
Let it out, Doc.
But,
Let it out.
but my daddy protected his credit score. He's very much a person that's like, don't nobody owe you nothing. Ain't nobody never gonna take care of you. You take care of yourself. So he kept his credit score right, saved his money, planned for retirement. I never had parents calling me and saying, oh, I hear you're doing well. Can you help us out? It was a pride thing, for my dad. My parents have always been fine. But here's the thing. So my dad, one time he was talking to me, he said, yeah, he said, people will call me talking about, can you co-sign for this and, co-sign for that. And he said, I tell him, hell no. He said, you went out and you fucked up your credit score. And now you want to mess up mine too? How many of y'all have seen this? Seriously, I didn't mean to cuss again. But y'all know I don't mean it. I'm probably going to cuss again at some point today. But seriously, how many people do you know have that really trifling behavior where they will literally go and get you to co-sign, and then their habits creep out, and next thing you know, they've pulled you down into the gutter with them. Because they never understood that the reason you ain't got nothing is because you don't keep nothing. You get $1 and you spend $1. You don't hold on to what you get, and you ain't even thinking a second about growing your money. When somebody offers or tries to get you to take a class or read a book, you don't want to do any of that. So your life is a reflection of how you think. If you want to understand what's going on in somebody's insides, just look at their outside. Seriously, for most people, like with myself, I talk about myself. When I started getting, fat and overweight and everything else, it was a reflection of the fact that when I got hungry, I was going for fat, sugary, sweet food. I was eating like a pig. So you see an obese person, unfortunately, you're seeing a person who's got a certain mindset when it comes to fitness, when it comes to how they eat, all those things. So your life, good or bad, is owned by you, and is a reflection of what you're made of and what kind of person you are. Andre, please elaborate on some of that.
I want to talk about the All Black National Convention, if you don't mind, real quick, Don.
Oh, please do.
Anybody who is looking to expand their network, it's not just about the cool people that are on stage. I don't know how I got on stage. I'm one of them. I guess because me and Doc are cool, whatever. But the people, like, they're dynamite. But the people who you meet in the audience are all usually just as colder. They just happen to not be on stage. Anytime I've spent money to go to a Black conference that focuses on entrepreneurship, it's always going to cost money, right? It's always going to be usually a flight, a hotel, and for the convention. I have walked away meeting some of the greatest people who I've ever met, who are great humans and who are hungry as hell, who are about their business. So if you're on the fence, you're like, I got the money, I don't know if I should spend it. It's an investment that I strongly encourage you to make. You will make it back short term. Ryan McCrary, our mutual friend, he was there in the audience last year.
Yep.
This year he's on the stage.
He's on the
if you want to meet somebody who was a Jay Morrison, who's a Dr. Boyce Watkins, on a much lower level, Andre Hatchett, showing up to meeting somebody in person opposed to an email, it's just a different effect on the longevity and the seriousness that of the category that you're going to be like, wow, like, you came here, okay, cool. I don't really do phone calls or things like that, but you know what? Here, man, here's my number. Let's wrap for 10 minutes next week. Let's do 15 minutes. Let me see if I can help you out in a way. It's just a whole different level of respectability you'll get when you meet somebody in person. So don't take it for granted, guys. It's well worth it. If you're on the fence, please come there. And if you see me there, say what's up. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. So I want to push that out, and I also want.
No, that's a good point. I mean, you think about it. Look at how we met. I don't remember.
4 years ago. Oh no, I saw it on Facebook. It was 4 years ago we met.
Yeah, and every it's funny, man. I mean, it happens all the time where there's somebody that is. I don't underestimate the people in the audience, because I'll ask people what they do, and somebody raise their hand, and somebody will be doing something so amazing. I'll think, oh my God, you should be on the table right now. And so it's a beautiful process in terms of discovering just the treasures of amazing Black people that are in our community. And so if you're looking to be around the right kind of people, a lot of the keys to success is surrounding yourself with the right kind of people. Some of y'all ain't surrounded with the right kind of people. I hate saying it. I ain't talking about your relatives or nothing, but there are some people, sometimes it's hard. You feel like you're all by yourself. And what I loved about the convention, I didn't know exactly how it was going to turn out last year. I woke up, I received inspiration from God that said, you need to you quit complaining about the conventions, create one. And I was like, well, I can't do this. We don't have the funding. Like, how we going to just do it? Literally, that was the conversation that was happening, like, in my head. And I said, okay, I'm just going to move forward on faith. I don't even go to church, but I do believe in faith deeply. And I just felt like, okay, I guess it's going to come together if I just do my best. And next thing I know, it became something stronger than I thought. It gave more to people than I even had envisioned. What I would hear from people, they're like, oh yeah, I flew in from China. So I flew in from Zimbabwe. I was thinking, you did?
I was like, wow, yeah.
yeah. So it's really, that's what tells me, okay, and this is something for all of you guys to pay attention to. Your instincts a lot of times are stronger than your intellect. Your instinct is advanced intellect, because your subconscious mind, it controls 99% of your reality. Your subconscious mind is where all the processing happens, where you just kind of understand things. So don't ignore that. A lot of times when you pay attention to logic, or you pay attention to what other people are saying, or you pay attention to the fear, and you ignore the gut instinct on something, you're going to find yourself making the wrong decision. So Andre, please continue. Sorry about that.
Show up in person. Yes, and me and Doc met 4 years ago. I had a list of people who I respected as business people and people who were down for the cause. Doc's at the top of the list. I said, oh, he's going to be in Brooklyn. I'm in Yonkers. Let me go. I was there. Great convention. Great day. Great panel. And afterwards, I was able to say, what's up? Said, what's up? Took a picture. Followed up with you a few times, and sometimes it takes a few emails to get through to somebody. Do not get nasty in the emails. It will not help things. Anybody listening got back to me, and here we are 4 years later. We're boys. We have partners,
buddies, yes,
mentor, advisor, and I'm honored to know the great Dr. Boyce Watkins. But it all came from taking the leap. So another thing, in my book, Own or Be Owned, The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation in America. Yes, women can read it too. Own or Be Owned, The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation in America. Living with your mother too long. I talk about that. Living with your mother too long. It's called Arrested Development, not a TV show, but Arrested Development. That's where you're older, but you think as a teenager or a child. So you expect a lot of times your girlfriend or the woman you're dating to just kind of take care of you. You don't have that like, I got to figure it out. Along my path of full-time entrepreneurship, leaving the workforce full-time, which I've been out of it, I believe it's 8 years now, 7.5 or 8 years now, full-time entrepreneurship, like pasta and sauce and sometimes tuna with some rice was the meal, like the all-day meal or the all-weekend meal. There are plenty of things I had to miss out on. Friends, baby showers, birthday parties, a bunch of life I had to miss out on in order for me to be here with you guys right now. But along the way, because I didn't live with my mother past a certain age of my life, I got that assertiveness, that dudeness per se, in order to figure things out and be able to make a way out of little to no way. And if I would have lived with my mother too long, I just would have been so, I don't have to figure it out. My mom's going to do it. My dad's going to do it. That's why I'm a big believer in men being dudes, and having your mother live with you is different than you living with her. Like, get a 4-family house, have her in one unit, you in the other unit, and you have tenants in the other unit, and that's a whole different dynamic to you living with your mom and you depending on your mom.
Well, that's such an interesting point. There's that old saying that says, no pain, no gain.
Yep.
And that's true all throughout the universe. I mean, if you go to the gym and go through the pain of lifting weights and working out, you're going to gain, you're going to look better, right?
It's going to happen.
If the workouts are too easy, then chances are you're not going to gain anything. I'd love for there to be, I'm waiting for them to invent the Dunkin' Donuts workout, so that I can, look like The Rock and eat donuts every day. But I don't think that's coming anytime soon, and a lot of times in life, that's the problem. That's the paradox. If you are that man or ladies as well, I think adulthood can be applied across the board. We know that, and you've got your mother there. Your mother doesn't want you to endure pain, even if there's a long-term benefit, even if she knows there's a lot, not all mothers, but I know I've seen a lot of moms that don't want to see their baby suffer at all. They don't want to see their baby, the baby goes on the football field and they're scared to death. Oh, no, don't hit my baby, stuff like that. And the thing is that there's a process, and there are times where, I've had to kind of say to mothers I know, like, look, back up, let that boy go out there and get his ass whooped a little bit. Let him go out there and figure it out. Because if you are always protecting him from the pain, then you are arresting his development where he will never get the game. He will never grow. He'll never get, any kind of strength. In fact, I was thinking about today how, as much as I hate racism, the pain of racism, because it's not right. We know it's wrong. We know we need to get rid of it. But I'm so happy that that white people treated me like shit when I had that job at Syracuse.
Oh my God!
Because if they had been nice to me and rolled out the red carpet and said, "Hey, we want to integrate you, Dr. Watkins. We want you to be comfortable. We love you, boys. We want you here forever." I don't know if I would have been as hungry to get out and create my own business. I don't know. I mean, part of what drove me to get better was an obsession with getting away from a toxic situation. I said, I got to find my way out of here, and I got to find my way to success. I will work until I drop if that's what it takes. And that's what made me good at what I did, right? And when I was reading my favorite book now recently anyway, An Empire of Their Own, How the Jews Invented Hollywood, where they're talking about how the Jews, the Eastern European Jews, which were like a lower class, the lowest class of Jews, from what I understand. There's the German Jews who were up here, and the Eastern European Jews that were there. But even beyond that, most people just didn't mess with Jews. You know, they would say your child can't come to this school because they're Jewish. You can't, we will not work with you because you're Jewish. We will not hire you because you're Jewish. So what they did, what I found was, and I was reading in detail, I've never learned this much about the Jewish community as much as I've learned from reading this book, but they literally, the common theme I kept seeing is, you know, the Jews would try to join a country club in Hollywood. They say no Jews allowed. So they're like, okay, let's build our own country club. The Jews would try to get a job at a law firm. They say we don't hire Jews. So they go start their own law firm. Ended up making 10 times more money. They say, oh, your children, your Jewish children can't come to this school because we don't let Jews in our school. They would go build a better school, right? Every time they were rejected, that was an opportunity to elevate. And so for Black people, I think rejection is your opportunity to elevate, but you must always be willing to activate.
Bingo.
See, the problem for us a lot of times is that we don't always activate. We just sit and I don't know if we sit and just contemplate or just marinate. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of terms you can use where we would just marinate in misery and despair over the fact that we can't get in and it ain't right and y'all not treating us right. And so what I would say is that if we change our culture and push our children to elevate their skill set, then they have the ability to then go and activate. And they say, you know, it's okay. I'm not mad at you for not letting me come work for your company because I actually kind of wanted to build my own anyway, right? People that kind of have their basic training at an early age, they're not mad when you reject them because they know that they could probably do something better or they want to do their own thing anyway. The only people that get mad when they get rejected is when they feel like they have no other option.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the problem. We feel in many cases like we have no other option other than somebody letting us into their situation. The question is, are we going to critically analyze how our children are being trained at an early age when we just don't really have a whole lot of energy put into developing financial literacy and entrepreneurship and ownership in the minds of Black children? Andre?
Yeah, well, here's the deal now. Like, what if we would have had courses like we've created when we were leaving the plantation? We were trying to leave. It would have saved us years and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when we have our prices, $6-7 a month for notary school, $50 a month for the real estate school. Sometimes we get promo. Here goes promo code here. 7 homes, use it. 7 homes for the real estate school, knock it out. And we have institutions now, and not just ours, there's other ones out there too, that will help you learn from our mistakes. You're going to learn what not to do, which is equally as, or maybe more important in entrepreneurship and real estate development and becoming an investor, about learning from experts who have made mistakes, who are open and honest about their mistakes. It will literally save you years of your life. I've had students who have taken my course, and I have this guy Tiger. He's like going to interview me now for his thing. He said, "Man, thank you, Dre. I want those things without you." I was like, "Thank you, brother. I appreciate the feedback." He was like, "Man, I made 10 times my money like in the first few months." He paid $150. He said he made 10 times his money in the past few months. He's not even looking at a job anymore. So what is the excuse now? Because your mentor is $50 or $100 a month for a few months. Literally, you have mentors who will talk to you online, who have built curriculums for you to help you escape the plantation in the safest way humanly possible in all different industries. And if you're not a hardcore entrepreneur, or say, you can buy a 4-family house right now, 1 4-unit home, and that could be your kid's job. That could be your kid's job, because if your kid is 10 now, in 8 years or 10 years, it'll probably be paid off if you pay more on the principal. And that rental income, that's your kid's business. So your business doesn't have to always be a physical business, which I think a lot of times it should be, or a tech business, but it can also be real estate as well. Diversify your portfolio. 1 multifamily house, that could be your kid's first job or first career. They manage the property, they live in there, and they repeat the cycle as they go older. But there are no excuses right now. There are no excuses. Now is the time, because in 20 years from now, if we're still on this, I need white people for validation and for jobs bullshit. I'm just not here for it. I'm
Well,
not.
it's not a winning situation, you know, for anybody.
Never. It's
You know,
never won.
I know people who have received the validation, who did get the accolades, who are still not happy. Even when I was reading that book, some of y'all asked for the title of that book I mentioned earlier. It's called An Empire of Their Own: How the Jews Built Hollywood. An Empire of Their Own: How the Jews Invented Hollywood. Because what the Jews concluded, from what I've gathered, is that because they were disliked, you know, by so many people around the world, they wanted to control media so they could control the image of their people. You know, so for Black people, the question is, are you working to want to control the image of your people, or are you complaining about the image that other people are putting out of your people? So Dre, I think that you're right about what you said about, you know, real estate and understanding just, you know, all these concepts, whether you're talking about real estate, just the idea of ownership, investing, and wealth building, things like that. If I had been introduced to this stuff when I was, say, 7 years old, all y'all who have young children, please start doing this stuff with them now. If I had gotten into this when I was 7, there wouldn't have been no obsession with football. I wouldn't have been at school messing up every day. I would have been trying to, you know, do something crazy. I probably would have tried to go to Harvard or something by the age of 14. Like,
Yeah.
I would have literally set a goal like that in my head and become obsessed with it, as opposed to being obsessed with what some rapper was doing, or, you know, with some athlete or whatever. So, you know, get your kids into stuff like this early, because the longer they have for it to sink in, the more natural it will become for them when they become adults, and they'll be able to play the wealth game at a different level. For everyone else, it'll seem like a struggle. For them, it'll seem easy. They'll see my cousin, he's an entrepreneur, and in his mind, he says, there's money everywhere. What do you mean there's no money? You know, and that's because he's trained to see it in a certain way, you know. And I'll say this, and then I'll let you get the last word, Dre, before we answer some student questions here.
Okay.
You know, I remember when I went to college, the University of Kentucky, my freshman year, my daughter had just been born. I was petrified. I didn't have a plan for life, really, and I'd never made good grades before in my life. I'd never made an A in anything, and I got to college and I was trying to figure out how to do well in school. And I remember, because no one had ever trained me on how to study, and that was actually an advantage, because I was able to see it with fresh eyes, the whole system with fresh eyes. So to me, I was like, well, wait a minute, why are these people waste so much time? You know, what do you mean you started studying for your test 2 days before the exam? That didn't make sense to me, right? And so long story short, I came up with my own process, my own system of time management, my own system of studying. I compared it. I said, well, if I can go to work 8 hours a day on a job, then I can study for 5 hours a day. That's easy. That's a day off practically, or half a day off. And that was a completely different mindset from other college students. Other college students, you know, they just were on a different plane. You know, they would study an hour or two a day, and that was it. And they thought, for them, college was very difficult because of them, because they weren't putting out the effort. So here's what happened. And this is what this analogy is important for you guys to understand. Because I developed a new way of looking at things, school became super easy for me.
Yeah.
I would have friends that had a 2.3 grade point average, and I would be like, how do you get grades that low? I don't even know how to. I mean, it's easy to get an A in a class, or I mean, at least a B plus. You know, you don't have to do anything to get it, because I was comparing it to, you know, somebody who studies 5 hours a day, right? You study 5 hours a day. So when I studied 3 hours a day, I felt like I was being lazy, even though I was still ahead of most of my friends. And so the same thing is true with wealth building, right? There are people that think that making money is extremely difficult. There are people who think that it's impossible. Oh my God, there ain't no money out here, ain't nobody paying, etc. And then there are people where money just seems to fall on, just rain on them. You know, you talk about this whole life of abundance. You got the pastors talking about prosperity and living abundantly and all that stuff. Well, I don't know about all that, but I can tell you that there are people who live that kind of life, and it ain't just because they just decided to feel abundant or whatever. They have a different way of looking at the economic system. They have a different way of making money. If I sat down with two people, one of whom is financially literate and has owned things and understands entrepreneurship and real estate, and then I talk to another person who was never educated on any of those things, they're going to analyze the process in two totally different ways. And there was no better example than when I was in Boise, and I'm sitting here listening to a 25-year-old white kid who never went to college talking to his buddies and saying, yeah, well, we were making 120,000 a month and we wanted to get up to 170,000 a month. So we tweaked our business a couple of times because we figured it wouldn't be too tough to increase our revenue by at least another $20,000, $30,000 a month. That's the conversation these guys were having at the age of 25, and this guy had not gone to college. So I'm just telling you all that there's a whole different world out there. And I think you want to take the time to learn from some people that maybe have seen it a little bit, at least kind of find out what's out there so you don't feel like life is always a struggle. So anyway, okay, so by the way, I'm talking to Andre C. Hatchett. Andre is the founder of theblackrealestateschool.com. That's theblackrealestateschool.com. Also, he is the author of the book, The Top 10 Habits of Underachievers. He's got that book, The Top 10 Habits of Underachievers. What's your other book that you have?
Own or Be Owned, The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation in America. 2 books.
Own or Be Owned, A Black Man's Guide to Wealth Building and Wealth Creation and Wealth Building in America. Is that right?
Bingo.
Okay. All right. And so if you have a son or you know a black man that you care about, maybe that's a great book for him as well. Or if you are a black man. Andre, I think, is a great man. He represents manhood in a very effective way. That's why I chose Andre as a person that I wanted to work with personally, because I personally think that the media elevation of real black men has kind of died. They don't really want men like Andre in mainstream media. Instead, I think they like men that are weaker, more assimilated, more feminized, etc. And I'm not a fan of that. So anyway, and also, by the way, if you want to go to the All Black National Convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com to get tickets. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. If you want to check out some of our programs in the Black Business School, you can go to blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. All right. So let's see here. Michelle says, I hope I'm doing this right. My name is Michelle Daniels. Well, good to see you, Michelle. I'm glad you're here. Andrew says, hey, Doc, what mic are you using to record your videos? I don't use a mic. I actually have my laptop and I have this camera. It's a Logitech HD 1080p that literally probably cost me like $50.
Yeah.
So you ain't got to go spend crazy money to make videos on YouTube. Just make sure whatever you talk about is interesting enough that somebody's gonna care about what you have to say. Jocelyn Hicks, what is your opinion about no money down mortgage loans, Andre?
If you can get them, they're great. They usually apply to VAs, to veterans, for the VA mortgage. So you typically can't get them unless you're in that kind of program. But there are a lot of grants out there. And I made that session also available for free. If you like it, feel free to enroll in the course. Go to theblackrealestateschool.com, theblackrealestateschool.com, how to build a successful real estate portfolio. You'll see that session there. If you can't find the email, email me and I'll send it out to you. Okay.
Colleen says she's a single female and she'd like to rent a home. Who can she contact to take care of maintenance, bill collection, etc.?
So what you want to do is you want to buy a house and rent it out as a investment property. So what you would do is you would find a property manager in the area. It's very important to read the reviews and ask for references because that could make or break your whole experience. So get a property manager in that zip code and go hardcore on the references.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody's asking, where can I get that shirt? Black Money Matters is a company run by a guy named Demetrius out of St. Louis.
Yes.
Good brother. Demetrius?
That's my man. Yeah, good brother.
Okay. Is their website blackmoneymatters.org or blackmoneymatters.com?
I think it's .co, but I'll look it up right now while we're on here.
Okay. So that's the name of the company, Black Money Matters. And I should mention that. Sometimes I come on video and I have these cool shirts and I don't remember where I got them from. That's the best part about this job. I have like hundreds of free shirts in the airport.
People love you.
Say it again.
Because people love you. You're the man, man. I was in Harlem and these guys were talking about me a little bit, but they were talking about, man, he's like our dad, man. I love Dr. Watkins. I was like, he's the man. He is the man.
Well, you know what? If I'm like a dad to you, then I fully accept. I'm the opposite of Charles Barkley. Remember Charles Barkley said, I am not a role model.
God. Yeah.
I embrace being a role model. I love being a role model. I think that by listening to the things I share, I think it can add a lot of value to your life. I'm totally fine with being the father you never had. And I'm sorry that your own father might not have been there or been what you needed him to be. but it's okay. You know, God put me in your life for a reason, and I fully embrace that. And I want you guys out there listening, and young ladies as well, or anybody listening, you know, to know that I take this seriously. I would give my life for this job any day in a second, and because you're that important to me. So, I really appreciate that. All right, so Rochelle lives in Louisville, my hometown, where the All Black National Convention is taking place.
Yeah.
And she says, I just purchased a vacant home from my city for $2,500.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
Congratulations.
Come to the convention, Rochelle. Tell your story. Tell us.
I want to hear
tell
that.
people in Louisville how you bought that house for $2,500 from the city, because there's areas even around where the convention's over. The convention is going to be in a place that's technically the hood, but it's not a dangerous hood. But you could tell ain't a whole lot popping there in terms of money or whatever. But I'm working with Simmons College and Dr. Kevin Cosby to revitalize all of that. You know,
nice.
buy some of the land, build it up, put some, you know, restaurants. Because it's open, available space, and it doesn't cost a whole lot. So why don't we build up our own spaces, our own communities? You know, really. So anyway, you know, I think the people there, Rochelle, at the convention would like to know, you know, how you did what you did. And I have a special interest because I am from Louisville, and I think that what you're doing is something that a lot of people should pay attention to. So she's asking, do you know if there are any lending vehicles available to rehab the home? What do you think?
There are, especially if there's equity in the home. So what the lenders are going to look for is, after the rehabs are done, what is the after appraised value, APV, after appraised value. So if the value is there, so after the home is hooked up, after the home is fixed up, there's equity in the home, then they're more willing to lend to a property in that condition. And there also are hard money lenders where the money will cost you more, but it can still be worth it in the long run. And if you email me, Andre@theblackrealestateschool.com, Andre@theblackrealestateschool.com, I'll show you some hard money lenders and some traditional lenders. Call the ones first who are straight lenders, and hard money loan lenders after that. Third option is bringing an equity partner. They pay for the repairs, and you guys split the equity. So either way, I can help you get situated. And the website, Doc, is blackmoneymatters.co. Blackmoneymatters.co.
Awesome. And Rochelle says she would love to come to the convention and tell her story. So I look forward to seeing you. I'll be there the weekend of September 28th, so I hope you'll stop through. And she says that the home is appraised at $28,000 already.
Okay.
She's already making money. Good for her. Walden's asking about the Tulsa Fund. How do I get in? I don't know. Jay hasn't called me back yet about the fund. I know he wants me in there. So if you know Jay Morrison, if you're watching, let's get this deal done, man. We got to announce it at the convention. But Jay's coming through. Jay's actually going to be on the podcast. So so I can't wait to have Jay there. Jay, that's a bad dude. So much.
That boy is cold. That boy is cold.
He's extraordinary.
That's good.
Let's see here. Someone says, I have a unique situation. I found a house last year to purchase around March. Unfortunately, the owner died before the current owner completed the sale. And so I had to wait 19 months to ensure that there were no heirs. You know, that's where you have to do the research to make sure that everything's clear and that you're not buying a house.
Good title, all that good stuff.
Right. I rented the house during this time. My credit was in the 700s, and it was great. Earlier this year, I was the victim of identity theft. My credit has tanked because of this. Now the landlord owner is threatening to evict me at the end of our lease because I can't find a lender with my low credit score. How can I purchase this house with a credit score below 500?
Yeah, well, first of all, sorry you went through that. It happens to a lot of us, and everybody should have a credit monitoring software system. I use TotalCredit.com is who I use currently, TotalCredit.com. But have some kind of system. And some people even put a credit freeze on all the reports. So if you go to Macy's and apply for a credit card, they won't tell you yes or no right away. They'll send you a text or an email. You have to confirm, yes, that was me. Then they'll open it up, and then they'll run your credit from there. So that's a good way for anyone who has strong credit. If you don't want to risk it, do that. So unfortunately, Queen, you probably are not going to get a lender with your low credit score. I would just stay on the authorities to so they can fix your FICO, so they can get rid of those errors. What you can do as well as hire a credit repair expert. A friend of mine in Docs, Tim Jackson, is one. I know a few others. If you want to email me, I will send you their information. They do charge, but they are affordable. That's one of the ways that can help. I can't guarantee that it will help. Just got to stay strong. I apologize that you went through that. I feel very bad for you.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry too. You know, I'll tell you, I know that I want to say it's the Consumer Bill of Rights or the Fair Credit Reporting Act, one of the two, that says that you can challenge things on your credit report that are not accurate.
You can.
So maybe you can get a copy of your report and go ahead and start challenging the items one by one. And really, this works for anybody because we're actually putting together a credit class in the Black Business School.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. And one of the things people should know is that you can challenge anything on your report. And if they don't respond and verify that debt within a certain amount of time, they have to remove it. So, so you may want to go through your report and find those things on there that you don't think should be there, and you challenge that, then they can take it down. They'll take it down. Thomas says, should I open an LLC to invest in tax liens? What do you think?
You can. You don't need to. It definitely can't hurt you. I probably would do an LLC or an S corp, but it's not a need to get started. But I personally would do it if you're asking me that question.
Okay. Andrea says land is being sold for $50 in the small town I live in.
Where do you live?
No. What town you live in?
Where is that?
We need to go visit Andrea. And she says, what's the best way to take advantage of these sales, or should I stay away? What do you think?
Should you stay away? Probably not. I need to know more details to give you an accurate answer. If you want to type in the area now, go ahead and do that. If you want to email to me, and we'll do like a private 10-minute video chat later in the week. Andre@andrechatchett.com. Andre@andrechatchett.com. But just from hearing that, that's something you need to at least look into. There might be a reason to pause. I have to know more information about it, but I want to look into it, so we can do it together.
All right. Norisha says, we're first-time home buyers, and my husband qualifies for a VA loan from his 13 years of service.
Yes.
But we owe a large tax bill that we are currently paying down. Can we still get a mortgage?
Okay. What you want to do is you want to get the tax bill off of your credit report, which there are ways to do it. As Doc said, you can dispute it. You can get help to dispute it. Join his course at the Black Business School once that is opened up. When's it going to open up, Doc? How soon till you open it up, you think?
Wait, how soon is the Black Business School going to open up?
No, the credit course that you were talking about.
Oh, the credit program will be launched within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, perfect.
Let everybody know.
So enroll there once it's open, but in the meantime, you can dispute it. Sometimes you can get a letter, a good faith letter saying that the bill is being paid. You're making payment arrangements on it. It all depends on the lender who you have. So lenders and loan officers, they have different amounts of power depending on how hard they work, which is why you want to be enrolled in a program at the Black Real Estate School, because we have top-notch experts who I vetted, because I'm not having people who are going to make us look bad out here, Doc. So I personally vetted and or worked with who know how to get the job done, and they do everything they can to get you there. So my recommendation is to contact the credit bureau, see if you can get taken off of your credit report, and or have a loan officer work with you for the mortgage as well. But good stuff on buying your first home and work on the process. Good luck to you. And if you are in the Navy or any armed services or veteran, Navy Federal Credit Union is a very favorable lender with credit cards, personal loans, business loans. Navy Federal Credit Union, the real deal.
Okay. We got time for a couple more questions, and then if you want to follow up with Andre, I believe he has some free trials at the Black Real Estate School where you can come into the class and ask him a million questions. Would people just go to theblackrealestateschool.com to get the free trial, or is there a certain URL?
They're going to go there, and I'm going to type in a promo code now. So it's going to be free 30.
Okay.
Free 30, and you're going to get our Real Estate Investing 101 course free for 30 days. Free 30.
Okay. So they can go to theblackrealestateschool.com, look at your Real Estate Investing 101 class, and use the code free 30, and they get 30 free days in the program.
Got it.
Try it out. Okay. Okay. So make sure you guys give it a try. It looks like you guys have a lot of questions, and I don't want to take too much of Dre's time because he's a paid consultant and stuff like that. So But he's generously donating the time to talk to us about this. But
anything from my main man, Dr. Boyce Watkins, my main man. People say, yo, what was I working with? I'm like, yo, that's my man. Like, you can't say nothing bad about him. That is my man. He has helped make my career what it is, and I'm very.
Well, you know what? Somebody who's really your man will respect your right to make a living.
Very
and that's true. I mean, that's something that people. And I want everybody to pay attention to that. When you start your business, or if you have relatives or friends that have a business that has started, respect what they do. Work with them. It's not to the point where you expect to pay full price for things, but I think that you should work with your relatives where if you're the business owner and they want the hookup from you, everything can't be free or you'll go out of business. You give them a discount. You demand that they pay. Same thing is true on the other side. If you have relatives or friends that you truly care about that are starting a business, take an active role. Go buy things from them, connect them with other customers, show support, give them free labor, connect, whatever it is that you can do. And then when you go in and you buy their product, insist that you pay something for that product. Do not take things for free because everything has a price. Ain't no such thing as a free lunch. There is no such thing. So if they give you something for free, just know it's a zero-sum game. That means that when you're winning, they're losing. When you're taking, they're giving something away. So don't do that. So when I have relatives and friends or whatever, they reach out and they want to give me, here, take this free, or I'll give you a free meal. I say, no. Let me pay you. I'm going to pay you. Now, I might not pay you 100% of the price, if I don't have the money on me or whatever it is, but I'm going to give you something just as a sign of respect because I care about your economic survival. So keep that in mind, or if you do take something free, write it down in your mind as an IOU. You can't go through life constantly feeding people with a welfare mentality, and you can't go through life having a welfare mentality. You must support the people and the things that you believe in. If you don't support them, then they will die, period. Rosa asked, will Dr. Claude Anderson be at the convention? No, Dr. Anderson's health is not that great. Plus, I think he's doing the stuff with Nas and Lauryn Hill right now. I think he's a part of, I don't know. I haven't talked to Dr. Anderson in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give him a call, though. We do a lot of business, though. All those books, like if you go to blacklaborwhitewealth.com, where we sell Dr. Claude Anderson's books, Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics and all that, he's made thousands of dollars from that. About 50 to 60% of the price that you pay for that book goes to the Andersons and to their institute. So if you, so again, as I've recommended to you guys, Black Labor, White Wealth, one of the best books ever written in the history of all mankind. I highly recommend that you have your children read those books and Powernomics before they start reading Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe and Mark Twain and all this other crap. They need to read Claude Anderson first and then read those other people next. And that, I know that probably sounds radical saying that. It only sounds radical because you've been brainwashed to believe that that's normal. It's not normal for you to learn everything about somebody else's culture and learn nothing about your own. That's insanity. So next, is there a format where participants can meet and greet digitally? Yes, Johanna. If you come into the digital live stream of the convention, and a few hundred people will be there. I don't know. From what I'm seeing, there might be more people in the digital side than there are in the physical. But the physical is better in the sense that you meet people and you look them in the eye, and when you're right there in front of people, it's easier to penetrate certain barriers, and to interact in a different way. Like, for example, last night I happened to be out and I bumped into Michael Baisden. I remember Michael Baisden, the radio host. And, I'd known of Michael and he'd known of me. And we have respect for each other, but we've never actually sat there and talked. And the idea of sitting there and talking and looking each other in the eye, that somehow we ended up, now we're doing business. Now we've already made these plans. I said, oh, why don't you come to the convention next year? And he said, oh, why don't you come on my show tomorrow? And why don't we do this? I mean, just all these things are coming out of that could have happened before, but aren't usually going to happen as readily with a phone call or an e-chat or an email or whatever. They're usually going to happen when you're sitting there and you're connecting human being to human being. So if you can come, I really encourage you to be in the space with the people that are there. The energy is amazing. But if you can't make it, you can also check out the live stream. The live stream's at abncdigital.com. That's abncdigital.com. And that puts you into the study group. The first month is free. So you could join the first month, and if you decide you want to leave or you don't like it or you don't feel comfortable, you can just always leave and it won't cost you anything. So it's definitely an honor system. But we want as many people that want to see the convention to be able to come in, and just know if you don't want to stay, then you can unsubscribe. But I think you should stay, because the thing about this convention that makes it different is that there is a long-term agenda with all of this. We're talking about we have so many plans. Even with real estate, for example, when I talked to Jay Morrison about the Tulsa fund that he's starting up, I said, with all the energy that's in the community right now, and I'm even starting to hear from NBA players and Hollywood folks, people that got millions of dollars, I said, we can go and we could literally lay a plan to buy, 500 acres in Ghana or something, and build on that land, and put the latest technology there and train hundreds of people to sustain themselves, to bring money in through digital technology, through e-commerce. Trillions of dollars is being made on e-commerce. We've got experts out here that can do it. I was at the thing in Boise where I was meeting 25-year-olds making $150,000 a month online. The guy who held the thing that I got invited to last week is about 34 years old, white dude. And his company made $100 million in the last 3 years. $100 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking we've got smarter people than that in our community.
Smarter. Yeah.
In fact, he even says, I don't even know anything about coding a computer, but I know people who can. That was what it was.
Mastering the art of being the middleman. For everyone listening, if you know how to master the art of being the middleman or woman or queen, you will eat for life.
Yes. Absolutely. So long story short, there's so much opportunity out here in the world. And I just think that we should practice thinking globally. The world is bigger than Detroit, Cincinnati, and Donald Trump. There's a whole big planet out there, and if y'all want to know, if just to tell you the truth, by the way, Andre, somebody said free 30 didn't work.
Okay.
You may want to test it out.
Yeah.
Right
now.
If you want to know the truth, right now I'm living in Guyana, but I really don't think I want to come back and be here all the time, because I don't like feeling that the poison of white supremacy is sort of lurking behind every corner. I don't want my whole life to be inundated with what Donald Trump did or what some white supremacist did. After I go to Guyana, I'm going to go to, Colombia for a while, where my brother's living. And down there, my brother actually bumped into a lady in a coffee shop who was an Afro-Colombian. And the lady said, she literally, he was talking to her and she said, yeah, there's this guy named Dr. Boyce Watkins and my brother said, yeah. And my brother's like, well, you know, that's my brother. And she's, so she's kind of like, what? And check this out. The lady said that she said that she had been taking my videos and translating them into Spanish for the Afro-Colombians. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, because it made me say, wait a minute, Boyce, you idiot. There are black people around the globe. And even though I knew it, sometimes you forget. You just don't. Americans, we are so horribly self-centered. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yes.
And I said, I need to educate myself on the fact that black people are all over the planet. And when you coalesce all the power of black people from around the globe, we really can't be stopped. Donald Trump can't shut you down. White supremacy in America can't shut you down if you are truly global and truly connected. So if you want to know what my journey is now, my journey has been to become global, to become connected. I've learned a lot from the black people in Guyana. I'm going to learn from black people in different parts of the world, and I'll still be here. Y'all still see me, all the time on a regular basis. But I want to take my mind and my spirit sort of out of all the chaos that's kind of happening here. And so I encourage all of you to get a passport, get one for your children, teach them to think globally so they won't feel trapped by what's happening right down the street. Okay, let's see, one more question, and then we're going to head on out of here.
Don't landlock yourself, guys. Don't landlock yourself. What Doc just stated is he freed up his life through technology. He's a tech genius, tech wizard. He's able to make money wherever he is in the world. There is no reason that in this day and age where we should be landlocking ourselves. It's a big world out there. Even if we're not there full time, we should have the option of living back and forth.
Yes, love it. All right. Rosa wants to know, I'm about to purchase my very first home, but I will live there for several years. How will I go there to purchase from there to purchasing another home while I still have the loan on my first home?
It's you can get another mortgage one day after buying a home. Like you can literally buy a home for 30 days in a row. There's no limit to it. What might vary is the down payment, which is required. Sometimes if it's an investment property, they might require a higher down payment, again, depending on the lender, which is why we have expert lenders at the Black Real Estate School. So you can, it won't, there are ways to get it done, tons of ways to get it done. If you're able to buy your first home, then buy your next home as a primary residence and rent out your current home and show the bank, hey, look, I'm going to be living in my new home, then you'll be able to qualify for an FHA mortgage, which is a 3.5% down payment program. But hit the promo code. I shared the link here. The link is working, and we can chat up at the Black Real Estate School, and we'll get you a game plan, sister or brother.
All right. Okay. So if you want to follow up with Andre and connect on real estate and talk about real estate all day until you just know it like the back of your hand, go join theblackrealestateschool.com. That's theblackrealestateschool.com. Andre's books, the 2 books that he has written are, one of them is The Top 10 Habits of Underachievers, and the other one is Own or Be Owned, The Black Man's Guide to Wealth Creation and
Wealth creation in America.
To wealth creation in America. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. If you'd like to come to the All Black National Convention, you can buy your tickets, discounted online tickets at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Those of you who are coming to the convention, the hotel that we're connected with is the Galt House. If you call the Galt House Hotel, tell them that you're with Simmons College and the All Black National Convention, they will give you a discount. The rooms there are really big, really nice. Also, if you're in London, you can get your tickets at drboycelondon.com. And then last but not least, if you'd like your children to join any of our kids programs, or you'd like to become an investor, join the Black Stock Market Program or the Black Wealth Bootcamp, you can go to blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. So thank you again to our special guest, Mr. Andre C. Hatchett. It's always awesome.
Always a pleasure, Doc. Look forward to seeing you and everybody else next week in Kentucky.
Yes, Kentucky it is. Birthplace of the great Muhammad Ali. And I tell you what, Ali was the greatest as one man, and all of us combined, we can be just as great, if not greater. And so let's take it to the next level. People like him paved the way for us. So we've got the capacity to do anything that we want. Ain't nobody gonna stop us. And that's all there is to it. So take care, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.